my god, it is an off-brand Supernatural.
Oh my god.
It's called Extraordinary.
More than normal.
More than nature.
Yeah. Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the doctor himself.
Hello.
Jeez, you popped on the mic.
Yeah.
Jesus, you're not usually that loud.
Pop that ass.
Wow. All right. That's where we're starting today.
Hey, whatever. It's week 73 of quarantine.
That's right. Speaking of week 73, each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you.
Very nice. Love it.
From week 1 to 73, that's what we do.
Yep. And then from then on, who knows?
I mean, we can't look into the future. Doubt there is one.
That's why we can't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Normally we'd have no trouble, but there's definitely not a future waiting for us.
Yeah, I mean, this episode comes out in a few days. I mean, I hope that your loved ones are still alive.
Well, I just hope they can download the episode, really.
Yeah, that's true. As long as their phone works.
Yeah.
Can you just plug in your loved one's phone?
Make sure everything's set up to automatically download so even if you perish in the coming days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I don't think I like this.
I'm fine with it. Speaking of things that you will like, we got a review.
Hey, another one. Very nice.
Bad stars. We're heading towards that 100.
We are indeed. This is what, the 74th?
Yeah.
74th that we're actually like saying on the podcast.
Yeah, getting that LOTR.
Lord of the Rings.
That's right.
I'm so excited.
We got a 5-star review, number 74.
Okay.
So I know we at least got one more.
Sorry, you trailed off and looked at me, but I don't know what you're trying to queue up.
Oh, nothing.
Okay.
I don't know. I blacked out. I haven't drank in a while.
Sobriety's hitting hard.
Yeah. This comes from Podcast Addict. That's the platform, not the person. Yeah. The person is Jeff Whaley.
Jeff.
He says, I like this podcast as much as I like Krill.
It's geotagged for the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Well, I hope he's a sperm whale.
Oh, come on.
Jeff goes on to say, excellent podcast with great in-depth comics. You all right? With comics, information, and hilarious dark and goofy comedy. Each week feels like I'm 12 again, reading Wizard magazine. Oh, it feels like you're 12.
No,
that was bad. No, that wasn't even good for me. Highly recommend it to anyone new or lapsed comics fans curious about DC.
Hey, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll say it in your native tongue.
Hey, I don't like it. You can't be doing that accent.
With the whale accent?
Yeah, I can hear that.
Sorry. Yeah, when we get to 100 reviews, just a reminder, we will make the Lord of the Rings miniseries.
Yeah, that's fine. More importantly, when we get to 200, we're going to do a Supernatural miniseries.
Oh, just a miniseries? Oh,
well,
I just thought that's when we were starting the podcast.
Oh, I guess it's a full series because it's all of the episodes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, if we get to 200 reviews, Richard and I are going to do a Supernatural rewatch podcast where Richard is the me, and, and I'm also there.
You wish.
Yeah, the audio is going to be shit because I'll be producing.
No, that's not happening.
Yeah. Come over to my house. We'll record it on our phones.
Hey, you got a new phone, though?
Yeah, I'll splice it together in GarageBand on my phone.
I was going to say, I use GarageBand.
No, on my phone.
Okay.
Nothing on an actual computer.
No, God, no. Both. Because I couldn't do enough work. I want to both host and produce the podcast.
Yeah.
So, if you get us to 2, and I don't care how you get us there. I mean, all that matters.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard you say that.
I don't care how you get me there. Just get me there. Look, I mean, multiple reviews on multiple different platforms.
Yeah.
We're okay with that.
Yeah. Just make sure if it's not iTunes or Facebook that you actually
Let us
send
know.
it to us. Like send us a little like heads
Email
up
or
tell us where to look because
DMS.
we don't always get notifications for other things.
Yes.
So, but yeah, send in those reviews. We got a couple of those milestones
Oh,
there.
yeah.
100
So,
and 200.
hold on. Jessica wants to talk about it.
Listen, I need the Supernatural podcast more than anyone can even imagine.
Wow.
Well, it's a good thing no one's told her about like the dozens of other supernatural podcasts that undoubtedly exist.
Yeah, but she's not involved with those.
Exactly.
Right.
I need something to live for.
Oh my god. I'm.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
She's my dog. I'll do it.
So, reviews by any means necessary.
That's right.
You know,
yeah.
you can buy reviews online.
Make a bot? I don't
Yeah,
care.
Russian bots.
Yeah.
Yes, very good podcast. 5 stars.
Whatever needs to happen. I trust. I trust you'll know what to do.
We get 130 identical reviews. Very good. I like to listen at work.
5 nationalist stars.
Oh no. Oh no.
That's right. 5
Hammer and sickles, yeah.
Oh, I mean, those are kind of like stars.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 5.
I
Put in those reviews.
I put in 5 Putin reviews.
Oh god! Oh my god! We're getting the transmission again.
It's
Through.
happening. We're gonna be on some sort of CSIS watch list.
God, I just wish I was on a CISO watch list. Yeah,
Listen, if anyone was watching it, then
Yeah, I
we'd
mean,
still have a CSIS.
let's go to the news. Wow, that was a funky Russian submarine. Yep. You good?
Red October.
Wow, just Red October.
I don't know any of
Look
his
at
lines.
that.
from
The improv ability
Yes.
is just
yeah,
top notch.
just to give me a suggestion.
Here's a suggestion: stop doing that.
Red October.
Oh wow! Oh, now you got an accent.
Yeah, it was just more than Sean Connery did.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. Yeah, I'm clearly
He's just phoning in accents.
lock the door to the submarine when you're coming in.
Jesus. What's the news?
I couldn't even do it. I have to actually do the line, or I still can't get it.
I know
have to be
it's tough.
lock the door if you're coming in.
Yes, why do you always do Fighting Forrester? I don't understand.
It's because it's the pinnacle of his career. First piece of news: Diamond plans to ship May 20th.
Yeah, it looks like, fingers crossed, things are going back to normal in terms of comic shipments and stuff like that. So,
very excited about this.
which I think makes those like sort of interim DC plans a little bit kind of stillborn, I think, but that's fine. It'll, although I think.
I mean, it's still challenging because not all the stores are open.
I don't think every publisher though has like confirmed that they had resolicited or like stuff.
Also,
Diamond
stores.
is obviously they're sitting on some stuff that was in their warehouse before they stopped sending stuff out. So some of that'll be coming out. I don't know anything about like solicited dates for comics, how things are being moved, if they're dumping everything out at once or staggering it. I know nothing about that. But the idea just generally being things getting back up and running, getting some books out there again. Now, in zones where like you are not allowed to be open in any capacity unless you're like in an essential service, that's not exactly going to help retailers.
No.
But for those retailers who can sell, they I'm sure will be happy to. I mean, it's like anything else. Every industry is like, whatever one thing comes in, it doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah.
Like this, it's a weird time. But it'll be good to get some of the mechanisms of regular comics moving again. That'll be good.
Yeah, hell yeah. Maybe you'll start getting new books again.
Maybe. Do you know what I learned? This is sort of related, but just talking to the guy that owns our local comic shop up here, is that Yukon, unlike most other areas, is like a DC town.
Really?
Does way on the comics side of things, does way more business on DC than Marvel.
Wow.
Which is kind of odd.
UConn also sounds like a convention for universities.
Well, it's University of Connecticut.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. Next piece of news: DC increasing digital first comic releases.
Yeah, a few have already come out, I think. There's a Aquaman one, there's a Batman one, there's a Superman one, which is awesome. I mean, DC has done this before. They've had these ones where like they come out digitally either like weekly or bi-weekly, and then like later maybe they give them a print run or they give them a trade run or something like that. So yeah, I mean, again, I think that's a reasonable response to what's happening out there. And plus, what's kind of nice as a business model, I guess, there too, is that when things do come back, it's not like the point of digital first is we get people still using this digital platform. They get their physical books back. They get some of that. Now you kind of have a foot in both doors, and there's different strengths and strategies to releasing that way, right? You know, like it's obviously there's less overhead to make a digital first comic.
Yeah.
So maybe you get people to play around. Now, right now it's big characters, but it would be cool if we saw some of those digital first ones, slightly more fringy characters, and then they're like, oh, people like this, at least print it as a trade or something like that. So maybe could potentially be a better like proving ground for things.
I'm totally a proponent for like less print and like more digital.
Yeah, I mean, although we've talked about this before, the weird sort of stat is that like digital comics have been around for like over 10 years, and the numbers have never really grown. It's gotten to like...
Well, also, yeah, I think that a lot of people who read comics still are ones who've been doing it before.
And lots of us also have some things that we get. Like, there's things I'm like, I'm not going to pick that up, but like, I'll get the digital one, or it's easier to hop.
I just want to follow the story.
It's easier to hop in and out. Like, if I just want an issue, it's easier to do that digital and stuff like that, at least for me up here. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Like some of the digital first ones they used to do were more Elseworldy. I don't know if these ones are meant to be canon or not necessarily, but yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah, what is there? Like the Superman Man of Tomorrow by Robert Venditti.
Yep.
Gotham, or Batman Gotham Knights. These Gotham Knights.
There's I forget what the Aquaman is called too, but there's the Aquaman one is called, but there's one of those too.
Aquaman Deep Dives.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Check him out.
Hell yeah. Last piece of news, one that I'm particularly excited about.
Okay.
Batman the Animated Series podcast revealed.
What? Like a rewatch podcast?
No, like I think it's...
Or like a radio show?
Yeah,
like...
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
What?
Let me see here.
Oh, fuck yes.
From the visionary producers of Batman the Animated Series comes all new stories in this seminal animated world. In the opening chapter, Star Labs in Gotham City is attacked by a giant robot. Let's see here.
Sorry, so this is like a radio drama podcast set in the animated Batman series.
Which is awesome.
Fuck yes. I love that. What's it called? Just called Batman
it's Batman the Adventure Continues.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Because they're also doing that Adventure Continues or whatever, like comic, right?
Yeah,
that Paul Dini was working on. Oh, yes. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in.
Hell yeah.
Oh my God. I wonder how you apply to be a voice on that.
I wonder if Kevin Conroy...
It's me, the Condiment King.
Sure.
Yeah. I will relish the chance to beat you, Batman.
Yeah. You do great for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's all the pieces of news we have.
That's it.
You know what that means?
I was about to try to think of a dial doc.
Wow, just like news and we're done.
It's like, wow, 15-minute episode. That was a quick one.
Yeah, geez. Today's theme.
Yeah. Fire!
Talking about the hot ones.
That's right. Yeah, fire themed, fire powers.
The spicy chicken wings of the DC universe.
Yeah. We're specifically talking about spice, not flames. Yeah. anyone whose power can be measured on
Catwoman's muy caliente.
Ooh. Rojo. Yeah, we're talking about fire powers and fire-themed characters and pyromaniacs and everything, yeah. I realized how long ago it was that we did the cold-themed episode.
Oh my god, yeah.
And I know that you enjoy this when I do this, so I looked back at it.
Oh no.
It was issue number 40.
Jeez.
Yeah. It was forever ago. It was a very long time. It was like
But we don't even have an episode 40.
There's been an episode 40 the whole time. Ooh.
We started at 75 and that's where we went.
But yeah, so we're doing the flip side. We're talking about heat and stuff like that. So I gave you a reading assignment and it's tangentially related. I literally have no idea how this is going to go because
your hands were shaking as you gave it to me. You were wincing.
Yeah. The cool thing about this one is it's one of the comics I got from my dad. It's like part of what was in his collection. So it's a Flash comic. I think it's Flash 266. And the reason I gave it to you is that Heatwave is the main villain for this.
So you've got like sentimental value on this?
Well, yeah.
Oh.
I'd appreciate if you didn't hold it over that shredder.
No, it's fine. One thing I liked about this for sure is it's a short little ditty.
Yeah, because there's like a
it's
backup,
not even a single issue. Yeah,
there's a backup story in it, so the actual
there's like two backup stories.
The actual main story in it is relatively short,
and there's like a Batman in the middle of it.
Well, yeah, that one is just an ad.
Oh, okay. It felt like I thought it was.
No, that's an ad for like Hostess fruit pies or some shit like that. Yeah. Like
at the bottom. Yeah.
But
that was my favorite book story in this whole thing.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And technically, this story continues in the next issue, which I also have.
Yes.
But I just thought as a little sort of glimpse, we would use this one. So why don't we dive in? Why don't we talk about the beats of this story?
Yeah. So this is the Flash, the fastest man alive. We're getting a classic Barry Allen story.
Yes.
Which I've been enjoying. It's good. It's fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was. Considering when it was
I would say this era still sets the bar relatively low.
This is like what, 59, 60?
Oh, God, no. It would be into the 70s.
Oh, really?
Early
okay.
70s.
I thought... Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So it's... Yeah, I should have figured based the way that they've styled Barry Allen in this. Yeah. He's definitely in the 70s. I feel like it's a Murder, She Wrote at the beginning.
Yeah, we're about like 20 issues away from the death of Iris West. So we're a couple of years out from that. So stories are maturing a little bit. They're not just outright silly, but there's still kind of like that old school sensibility about like how you tell the story. There's a lot of like meanwhile and stuff like that still.
It's definitely very classic comic. So I tried to come at it with where it was at.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the artwork in it. Some of it's not great, but some of it like is pretty fun. Like I like the artwork in the beginning. So basically we start in the dark, and there's three villains that basically saying like, he's like, we're gonna get into this place basically because we're inside of something that's getting brought inside of this museum, and you find out that they're inside this like giant fake pyramid.
Right. That's a Trojan horse situation.
They're Trojan. They even definitely make that comment. So then you flash to Barry Allen and Iris West are Iris is covering the opening of this museum. It's like an Egyptian, what's the word called? When they like
wing,
but I think it's an exhibit that they brought in, and so it's very funny because they're just like looking around, and I love that they're like, oh, Barry's getting bored at the museum, and I'm like, isn't he a fucking nerd? Like, shouldn't he be all over this shit?
Well,
they play him like this like cool guy, Barry Allen.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't know if they're trying to make him cool or if they're trying to indicate that like his mind is always somewhere else.
Yes, I think it's because the way they dress him too. It just feels like cool guy, like smokes cigarettes, drinks whiskey.
Yeah, he pounds his fist on a jukebox and starts playing. Yeah,
it's very funny, but I also like that they call it the picture news assignment.
Well, that's the Central City Picture News. Even in the show, that was who Iris worked for a bit. Was Central City Picture News.
It was called Picture News?
Or she started the Picture News or something. There was, even in the show, they had the Picture News.
Because Picture News sounds like...
yeah, the moving pictures.
Yeah, don't you mean like a photo, like a news article, or like... It's just... Picture News tickled me. And out of nowhere, suddenly there's like a red circle that goes in that you can see through the pyramid.
Right.
And that's when reveals... Captain Cold and Heatwave, and then just some random thieves, some low tier thieves, and they pour out of the pyramid, and basically everybody. One of the things that I really liked about this was there's a part where suddenly the cops are like, "Our revolvers are exploding," but then they're like, "Our bullet-lined pockets too." And it's like these explosions coming in their pockets, and they're like, it's like firecrackers. I'm like, no, if that happened, like your legs would be off.
Well, this is the thing, right? Like you can see, they're like, oh, but like if you have this power, you could do this too, or if if the fire thing, it would do this too. But then someone is like, we can't
show you what actually would happen.
We can't make like 7 paraplegic police officers in this issue. Like that's.
We see a little bit.
Also, do you keep bullets in your pocket? If you're a
bullet-lined pockets.
Yeah, bullet-lined pocket.
I know. I was like,
it's part of the design. You actually can't use them; they're just in there.
Yeah, that's how they line them.
They're sewn in.
Yeah. So worst case scenario, you could throw your jacket at someone and shoot it. Like you set it on fire. I don't. Yeah.
Not how bullets work.
Yeah, that's not how bullets work at all. Heatwave suddenly has infrared rays coming out of his eyes.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. I'd never seen that. They don't show that on the show. One of the things that I like is then suddenly Barry gets into his costume with the classic like comes out of the ring.
Yep.
Very fun. I like he does this move that I've never seen him do on the show. There's a few things in here that I saw him do that I've never seen him do on the show before. One of them was he like goes so fast by these guys that he's actually like with his speed takes them with him,
right?
And then he runs into a wall and then quickly goes left and they fly into the wall,
right? Like they get caught in like the whatever they call that, the backdraft or the wake or whatever.
Backdraft. It's a good for the fire episode. No?
Oh yeah,
hell yeah.
And that is a cool little trick that he pulls there.
Suddenly Heatwave goes through the floor. So Barry travels with him by vibrating through the floor. Yeah. Already in the 70s, we're getting these
classic Flash moves.
Classic Flash moves here. He lands on the floor, and what's this? Oh no, he's heated the floor, and now his boots are stuck to it.
Yeah,
what's it gonna do?
It's so hot that it's melting the Flash's like friction, like special boots.
But don't worry, because Heatwave shoots him, but he jumps out of his boots into the air.
It does
over
like
the
a
bullet.
front flip. Yeah.
Yes.
It does like a front flip
back
over the
into
fire.
the boots. And then just like somehow speed stomps and like breaks up the floor.
Yeah.
So which I thought was pretty funny. But now he's okay. So then they basically like he somehow, what does he do here? He makes it cold in there. I can't remember how it happened.
Yeah, something with the thermostat or
something like that.
I can't remember precisely.
He makes it freezing in there. So but he also like Barry gets knocked out.
Right.
And Heatwave's still alive, so you'd think he would kill him, but instead he just runs away.
Yeah.
And Barry wakes up and he's like, why didn't he kill me? God, why didn't he kill me?
Yeah, maybe not how they wrote it.
It's just like, oh God, I'm still alive? He literally says that.
Next time I'm not doing that fucking front flip.
And he says, but why did Heatwave leave me here? ... Alive ... when he could have finished me off. Just saying how it's written.
It's true. Yeah.
Next, you get the 3 thieves get taken to 3 random thieves, and Iris is like, "Why would he use just 3 random thieves?
Yeah.
Unless like this wasn't their ultimate goal. Like, what was the actual point of all of this?
Right.
And then we flash to Heatwave's in therapy.
Yes. Yeah.
Which don't worry. You'd think oh no, it's a regular therapist. You know how they always tell the authorities about bad stuff that happens?
Yeah.
Not to worry, friends. This is one just for criminals.
Yes, yeah.
I wonder if it's the same one that saw Spectre when he started going, or no, Dead Man, when Dead Man started going to see the therapist.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right from that Dead Man series.
Yes.
Yeah. Someone should write like
A
mini-series about this therapist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of did the one for Heroes, right?
Well, Heroes in Crisis, it was just like an AI.
It could have been.
It wasn't
cool.
like an actual person there.
God, it really could have
They
been.
missed
Cool.
a trick though. They could have used that one.
Exactly. Clearly, these guys are here, and he's just like, I don't know why this is happening to me. He's like, I could have killed that guy, and I didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's basically just going like, oh, you've got criminal inadequacy.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you're as big of a criminal as you want to be.
Pretty much.
Couldn't get it up, could you?
He's got CD. He's got criminal dysfunction.
Yeah. And he's basically like, you're only running at 50% capacity, if you know what I mean. You're a little, just a bit of a criminal chub is what you've got.
Good God.
And he's basically like, I love the line where he's like, I didn't get to be the underworld shrink by being wrong about my patient's problems. That is why you came to me, isn't it? To find what your problem is.
Fair enough.
I mean, sure, yeah. And so then he basically does something to his brain to make him flashback to
some sort of like hypnotherapy, like memory therapy.
I got really concerned because he's just like, I can see myself. I'm 9 years old. I'm like, oh no. I know how criminals are made, and it usually starts when they're 9 years old. But no, what actually happens is that he's inside of a meat packing plant because the great school functions.
It's like a field trip.
Yes.
To the meat facility. Yeah.
And he sneaks into a freezer and they lock the door on him.
Yeah, like the other kids in the class, they lock him in there.
And so when he got cold because of the flash, he couldn't get it up.
Yeah, so basically they discovered that heat wave is cryophobic.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
And then there's a scene where he plays with the ducks inside of his pool that have moved in there. That's it.
So it's not 100% the origin of heat wave, because that origin, he's obsessed with fire, and he ends up burning down his house and killing his own parents and stuff like that.
Jeez.
But he's also cryophobic, so it's maybe like the thing that pushes him towards fire, right?
Is this a thing that is continues?
Maybe not all of the specifics, but yes, generally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's fire obsessed and cold aversive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, like I said, also only really half of a story.
Yeah.
Because it continues in the next issue.
Yes.
But like, what did you think? Let's talk a little bit more about it. You talked about some of seeing some interesting moves that the Flash did. What did you think of the art?
It was nice. I always like that sort of vintagey newspaper comic sort of artwork. I think that's always really fun. The cell shaded kind of almost like it's. Yeah, I always enjoy that style. I think it's classic and clean and easy to kind of tell the stories you're doing. And I like a lot of the whooshes and stuff. Yeah. It's all fun and I think that it very much reminds me of an old 50s serial. It's
right.
It's simple. It's they didn't try to though they did address the psychology behind stuff, which was an interesting thing to bring in. I mean, you wouldn't have got that in the 60s or anything
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, we're approaching more sophisticated stories by the time we get into the 70s.
Well, because especially because you're getting soldiers now, probably. I mean, I'm not sure when this came out, but you're talking potentially I know that Vietnam had a big sort of impact probably on that because that's soldiers were reading them, and so.
Well, I suppose that's true too. Yeah, I hadn't thought about the impact of Vietnam on this, but yeah, I mean, in general, you're getting more sophisticated, more mature in quotes stories. Right?
It's mature.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was fun. It was a fun romp. It made me be oh yeah, I like the Flash.
Sure. So would you say that reading this has it made you interested in A, just reading more Flash, or B, reading more comics from that era.
Yeah, I'm not against reading comics from that era. I think that it's a great way to sort of like get to a lot of the basics of these characters because they're not. I also love that they start like the way the TV show does. It's like the like how he became the Flash.
Oh yeah.
Oh, because what was it? But you could tell that like I don't know if they've always done that with the Flash.
A lot of even modern comics, a lot of them will still do a little recap thing.
But it sounds like this one. It seemed like they're really like just figuring out how to do that because it's like a bolt of lightning stabbed into laboratory, striking a cabinet filled with chemicals, dousing police scientist Barry Allen with combination of these substances. A freak accident which endowed him with the incredible speed, enabling him to run across. It's like this entire paragraph. And
it's
I'm
a
like,
very it's a run-on sentence.
Especially considering like when you like watch the show and he's like, this is like the intro to the Flash TV show. It's just like, hey, this is what happened to me. I'm Barry Allen.
And it's pretty concise.
It's like 10 seconds and you're done. Like,
yeah.
This is just like a fucking dissertation on how he became the Flash.
That's true. Yeah, that's fair.
I thought that was kind of funny. But no, it was cute. And for me, it's like, oh, like if you're interested in like getting to some of these characters, especially like their very like basic origins, it's like, it's a really easy one because it's like they think that the readers are pretty dumb with this. It's always just like, here's my girlfriend, Iris West. Iris works for the newspaper. My name's Barry Allen. I work at the laboratory. Right now I'm not working though. I'm at a museum. A museum is a place where you show ancient things.
Yeah. And we're also
ancient things are things from the history.
We're also before the era of like artists really pushing like the form in terms of like panel layout or things like
this
that.
is
so it's very, very easy to track kind of like what to read and in what order and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. How many capes would you give this random issue of The Flash?
It's like a 3.5.
Nice. Not bad.
Yeah. It's not bad. I mean, it's very like right down the middle.
Yes.
But it's also like, it's like a Monster of the Week Flash episode, right? Like it's like, I'm not expecting like, it would be fun to have more humor. It would be fun to sort of like, but it's like, if I was a kid when this came out, this has been a great issue. Like, I think that, like, I've been like, this is awesome. I'm the Flash. I'm super fast because I didn't know any better. Like,
this is one of the first comic books I ever read.
Holy shit.
Probably, like, one of the first 5 comics I ever read was this one.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
It was fun. Nice. It's an easy way to get someone into comic books.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
So you didn't fail this time?
I needed a win.
Yeah, fuck.
I needed it bad, man.
Yeah. Are you sure you needed a win?
Yeah.
Are you positive?
No. Oh, I didn't see it till it was too late.
I mean, that's how you get it. So we're talking fire, baby.
So let's take the sort of random appearance of Heatwave from this issue.
Fire.
Nice.
The way you walk and talk really sets me off. Will I like it? Fire. Yeah,
it's very good.
That's
I love it.
I've been so long.
So let's talk. Let's get in. We got lots of questions about all sorts of different fire themed, fire powered characters. So yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, let's get into it through Facebook.
Go into the face and the book. Go into the Facebook.
First question comes from Adam Upher.
I hardly know her.
Oh my god, that's so inappropriate. I'm clutching my pearls. Those are pearls. It's a pearl necklace now.
Oh no.
Adam asks, well, you did it. How good is Dominic Purcell as Heatwave in the Arrowverse?
Let's just start there, right? So Heatwave is,
can we call it the Flashverse now? I mean,
the Rogues in general. So Captain Cold, Heatwave, Mirror Master, Weather Wizard, that group of villains. Of Flash villains. I think maybe before this show was around, if you didn't read The Flash, even if you were into other comics, you might not fully know who they were. They were at least relatively B to C list.
Wow. I mean, it's like a Riddler situation before the...
I mean, but Riddler, at least in popular consciousness, whether or not you like examine the character and how good he is, people know who the Riddler is.
For sure.
The Flash's rogues didn't really have that notoriety. I don't even remember if Heatwave appeared in the 1990 CBS Flash show that no one watched.
Oh, wow.
Captain Cold definitely did. Mirror Master did. I don't know that Heatwave did.
Oh, wow.
So
It's
really,
too much money for pyrotechnics.
I mean, Heatwave barely shows up in the cartoons. He's
Wow.
maybe in like 2 episodes of the Justice League cartoon.
and that's
like,
a basic character. That's an easy one to be able to go. I need like all the elements. I need a wind, fire. Like it's.
But even he barely shows up, right? So you sort of get this like, well, like who is he? There's not like there was a huge wealth of prior performances to compare it to, but you get Dominic Purcell as Heatwave on The Flash for 1 or 2 seasons before he moved over to Legends.
I'll tell you, when I was reading this, I definitely was like, it had him in my head.
I do it too now because like, especially because I can't do it because I know if I try to, do
Stallone?
it, it's gonna sound like the Mandarin, like the you'll.
Oh, I think it's like somewhere between
Because he's got a little bit of hey haircut.
Yeah,
like
hey.
he's
hey haircut. Yeah, it's like Stallone meets the Mandarin.
yeah, a little
Hey haircut.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kill it with fire. Like he's got a very particular speech pattern.
He's got a particular set of
I
skills.
mean, I love Dominic Purcell as Heatwave, and on Legends, especially after they killed Captain Cold, he's been his own character. But what was
a great character.
But what was so great initially was they were like, we already have Wentworth Miller as Captain Cold.
Yeah.
Remember how great he was on Prison Break with Dominic Purcell? They should be this iconic duo.
Oh my God, I never watched Prison Break, so I didn't realize that was a thing from that.
Yeah.
Oh, because I only know him and his brother from Prison Break. I didn't realize.
That's them.
Is that Dominic?
That's them.
I remember being a lot thinner in Prison Break.
No, that's them. Captain Cold and Heatwave played the brothers on Prison Break.
Holy shit.
So, like, that was like
God, those guys have been acting together for so long.
That was like a fun casting thing, which is like, we already know these guys will work well together, so they have this sort of antagonistic, sort of brotherly relationship.
Yeah.
That was a fun, like, initial thing with the casting, but he's become such a great character. I mean, they've added stuff
the
to
fucking
him
novel writing
that is not in the comics, that he's a romance author, that he's like,
What's his romance author name again?
Rebecca Steele? No, Rebecca something.
Oh, God.
Fuck, I can't remember.
It's so good.
Yeah. I mean, this current season, he's doing a book signing.
Yes.
And someone is like, and he's like, can you sign it, Rebecca? And he's like, of course I can.
Yeah.
I'm Rebecca. Or like, he just says,
yes.
He's like, eternally yours, quiveringly. Like, he's like using all these fucking words. So funny. It's such a great addition to the character. Because really, even in comics, even of the rogues, Heatwave is probably the least utilized.
Wow.
Heatwave is probably the lowest tier even of the rogues. You get more Captain Cold-centered stories. You get more Mirror Master-centered stories than you ever would Heatwave. He always gets short shrift, even in relative standards. So it's so awesome that they recognized that, like, the performance is engaging, and they gave him more and more and more and more. Like, Heatwave is one of the best characters in that TV universe now because
honestly,
of it.
He's one of the only reasons to get through that first season of Legends.
Well, him and Captain Cold.
Yeah.
Him and Captain Cold will get you through that first season.
Yeah, it's basically the only way. But yeah, he's great. I really like him. Anytime he showed up on The Flash, I always really enjoyed. So
yeah, it's fun when they do the crossover now because McRory is essentially like a hero now, but he shows up and the Flash is like,
yeah, exactly.
And then he's like, they're on the same side.
Yeah,
like they have a funny sort of dynamic.
That is always really interesting. It's like you're still a bad guy over here, and he's just like, yeah, but
because Barry got to sort of help coax Captain Cold in his journey,
but not
Barry could believe Captain Cold, but he's like hasn't been there for any of Heatwave stuff. So Heatwave just shows up again, and he's like, "Oh, this fucker!" But it's like, no, like we're cool with him now.
Yeah, because he showed up in Legends as a bad guy basically, and like slowly turned. So.
Well, yeah, he was literally robbing history. Yeah,
so funny.
Yeah.
All right, next question comes from. We've only just who asks? God, I never get to sing anymore. It's a nice feeling.
Get to every week.
No, he doesn't ask questions.
I would argue too much.
Hashtag sing more. Hashtag sing less.
Oh my God.
Incredible. Yeah, no, I'm not going to come up with something more clever than that. Dan asks.
I mean, you were this close to hashtag sing no and hashtag sing yes.
And that's ridiculous and not very well thought out. Dan asks, you want to talk about Martian Manhunter and his old girlfriend Scorch when he got all super thick with 2 C's. Side note, I've been calling him Marsha as a nickname, and I have no one else to share that with.
Thank you.
I appreciate that too. Martian.
Yeah, so Martian Manhunter, we've talked about it a lot before.
Yeah.
Famously, weakness is fire. For a little bit in the comics, yeah, he had this sort of fling with a sort of on-again, off-again villain named Scorch, who had
a divisive relationship.
Who had some fire powers. But she was like training him to like psychically overcome his weakness to fire.
Wow.
What happened in that story, though, was when she does eventually make that happen, he turns into like a fire beast Martian, and you discover that the Martians used to be constantly on fire, and they were way more powerful. They were called the Burning Martians, and they could reproduce asexually by feeding on like the psychic fire of people's pain.
Oh my god.
And that eons ago, the Guardians of the Universe were like, we gotta stop this shit. And so they split them into green and white Martians and gave them the psychic like weakness to fire and stuff.
Shit.
So when she does this, Martian Manhunter becomes a villain called Furnace, and he decides he's going to launch all the nukes on Earth.
Oh my god!
To basically coat the world in fire and misery, so he can reproduce and recreate the burning Martian race.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
Wow.
Yeah, that burning Martian thing is no longer canon, as far as I know.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean. It's canon. Who knows?
Yeah.
It might be. All we need is someone next issue to say it is. But
yeah.
As far as I know, it's not anymore. But yeah, it was kind of a crazy thing where it was like, oh, that's where the fire weak. It was like part of this, like, why is he weak to this fire? Blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. But it was his relationship with Scorch that kicked that whole thing off.
That's hilarious.
He basically bypassed that like genetic psychic block against fire, and it released like this ancestral burning Martian DNA.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What an insane idea. I kind of love it.
It's sort of wild. It's kind of a crazy arc, actually.
I kind of love that idea, to be honest. I think that's fucking rad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he got super thick.
The way they were drawing him, he was like big, burly beefcake Martian Manhunter. Actually.
Sounds like you're the Martian Manhunter.
Listen. I would hunt that man to the end of Mars.
That's fucking
if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Wink.
I thought I did, but
I'm going to find the picture that Dan sent to go.
Oh, did he? That's really funny. Look at you with your new phone.
I know. Oh my god. Yeah, get started. I haven't gone through all my prompts and stuff, but yeah. So this was in maybe the early 2000s, I guess.
Yeah.
So the artwork was essentially like, I mean, it was making him pretty thick, I would say.
God, there's nothing better than getting a new phone and getting to like set it all up and like,
okay, here,
get everything where you want it.
Here's Daddy Thick. We're gonna call him the Martian Thick Hunter.
Oh my god, that is monstrous.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Call his dick fire because it's my weakness.
I mean,
I'm psychically weak.
he must be made of fire because I'm pretty thirsty.
That was better. I like that one. Yeah. Nice.
All right. Next question comes from the Senator. James. Son of Paul. James Paulson. Who asks, it's quite a long question. Jeez Louise. Hold on.
Oh, no.
All right. Gotta crack my knuckles. Get ready for this one. Has there been a case where a metahuman or other superpowered being with pyrokinetic powers lost control of them? We just talked about one. If so, what was the resulting damage? How was it dealt with? In a similar vein, has any super level pyrotech gone haywire? And what was the result of that? Hope you guys are doing well up in Canada. No, that's why I was long, because he's being sweet. Hope you guys are doing well up in Canada. Thank you once again for an awesome podcast and Patreon for content that is helping keep me occupied while staying in.
Aw, thanks, James.
All right. The long one was okay then.
Yeah. Aren't you the asshole?
This time.
Yeah, that's it though.
Yeah. You're only allowed to make them long if they're sweet. You hear that, Bokelman?
Jesus Christ. You're such a provocateur.
Come at me, bro.
So, yeah, firepower's out of control.
Yeah.
So there's an example in comics and movies that most of us will be familiar with now.
Phoenix.
I was going to say El Diablo.
Oh, muy caliente.
Yeah, so I mean, El Diablo, both in the Suicide Squad movie and in the comics, at least the current El Diablo.
Burned his family
There's
alive.
a few different people that have been called El Diablo, but Chato Santana, he has this sort of hellfire kind of power, and he uses it for like personal gain and as part of a gang and stuff like that. And then in both versions, in the movie, it's his family. In the comics, it's not. But in both versions, he inadvertently ends up like killing kids and stuff like that using this power. And he's like, no. Like,
does he burn his family in the comics?
In the movie, that's
but
his
not
family. I don't think it's his family in the comics, unless they like retconned it after the movie.
Okay.
I think initially for Chato Santana, it was just kids, like generally.
Yeah, he brought home dinner extra crispy.
Oh no! Good God. I went to Harvey's. I got it flame broiled.
No, instead he just broiled children.
Oh no, Jesus! But yeah, so
he thought those kids were hot, but not because he's a pedophile.
He sort of in the movie more than the comics. It's more that he loses control of the power and it causes this thing by accident. Whereas in the comics, I think it was more that he like didn't realize the building he was burning down had kids in it or some shit like that.
Yes,
but essentially, it like. Both versions, he goes, that's it, I give up, no more crime, and he turns himself in. And in both versions, he's then coerced into being on the Suicide Squad as part of that. But I mean, that's maybe one of the more sort of culturally relevant, like the more known piece of pop culture for DC is that, you know, and that's that going poorly. For fire tech, I don't know that there's an example that I can think of offhand, at least, with fire tech doing something like hyper destructive. There's lots of examples of it going wrong personally. Like both Firefly and Heatwave are covered in scars because they're pyromaniacs, and from time to time their tech has something's gone wrong or they've been caught in a fire or whatever. And so they are horribly burned. Like that.
Jeez.
That happens lots of times. And for a bit in the New 52, all of the rogues, they break into this, it's like a Star Labs facility or something, and they find this thing that's like a gene encoder, and they basically take all of their weapons, put them in the gene encoder, and try and convert their weapons into meta powers. So like Captain Cold puts his cold gun in, Heatwave puts his heat gun in, Mirror Master puts the mirror gun in. They all take these things and put them in.
Yeah.
They put their hands in and they recode their DNA to give themselves powers.
Jesus.
But they kind of go wrong. So Heatwave, he could generate it like from his chest, but he was not fire resistant, and so he ends up covered in flames, horribly burned. But he gets this fire meta power.
Jesus.
Weather Wizard ended up like, the weather would talk to him, so he was like going insane. He'd be like, the clouds need to release their rain. And he was like going nuts. Like it goes
clouds are just edging. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna release my rain so soon.
I'm gonna drizzle.
Oh no, I'm gonna make it pour.
Oh God. But yeah, so I mean, there are examples of like accidents involving like the fire tech or fire powers or that, but I don't know that there's an example I can think of that like you know, where like a city went up or like anything like that. Yeah. At least not that I can think of offhand, but
nice.
Yeah.
All right. We're leaving Facebook and we're getting over to Twitter.
Twitter.
Do you hear that?
What?
You know what it sounded like?
What?
It's like a donkey's cry. Must be morning. That's right. The next question comes from Braydon.
Thank you for writing in, Braden. Braden, glad that you're listening to the show. Thank you for writing in. Appreciate your participation. Do you mind fully changing your name?
Please change it to the actual way to spell Braydon, because then I would love that so much more.
Could you please just change your name to Donkey Morning?
Oh, yeah. I got you getting into that.
What does Braden ask?
Oh, yeah. Braden asks, who is the most dangerous fire-themed villain in the DC universe?
Ooh. Most dangerous. Oh, God. Most dangerous fire-themed villain. That's... I mean, it's. I guess the qualifier here is I don't 100% know what we're talking about by danger. I don't know if danger really in this context means like potential for mass destruction sort of thing. You know what I mean? In the way that like someone with some powers lend themselves to like, oh, everyone's at risk. I don't know that this is necessarily one of them. But dangerous in terms of like being unhinged or being difficult to stop or things like that. Perhaps Firefly, I would maybe give it 2 over Heatwave. Heatwave is like obsessed with fire in a way that he's sort of in love with it. Firefly is just like an arsonist. He's just a pyromaniac. He's like, I guess you would call Heatwave a pyrophiliac. Whereas, Firefly is more just like he has the appetite for destruction by fire, I think. Plus he can fly, so like he can like travel and like cause damage in multiple spots a little bit more easily than Heatwave can, which I suppose is part of it. Let's see. Human Flame is a fire villain that I don't think really he's meant to be like a joke. He was like a one-off Martian Manhunter villain that was easily dispatched.
Okay.
And then later in Final Crisis, Libra is like recruits him and says, "I'll give you whatever you want." And he says, "I want you to kill Martian Manhunter." And so he does. Libra does.
Was that the name of one of the Fantastic Four?
That's the Human Torch.
Oh, wow. I apologize.
Come on. No, Mike Miller is just this like dumpy guy in like a fire suit, and he's the Human Flame.
Oh, okay.
He is not the most dangerous.
Definitely not.
I suppose any sort of the kind of evilish versions of Firestorm are probably the most dangerous because that's like a nuclear fire. It's like endless energy that you could turn into the power of flames and stuff like and heat and stuff like that. So
plus, radiation poisoning.
Well, yeah, and that too. Yeah. So I guess any of this like Deathstorm or any of like the kind of like evil versions of Firestorm are probably the highest up on that list.
Deathstorm is pretty metal,
right?
Yeah,
not bad.
Great band name.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Warlock Thanos podcast, who asks, "Is fire Beatrice from JLI covered in fire like Human Torch, or does she become a person made of fire? I remember seeing examples of both."
Right. So we've talked about ice before. Tora Olafsdottir, who has ice powers, and she's from Norway or whatever.
Tora Olafsdottir, clap, 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 singing as Chico, 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 jump. Hello, tap, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So fire is her like opposite number, a friend on the Justice League International and the Global Guardians and stuff like that. Yeah. Beatrice da Costa is Brazilian and like sexy and fire powered because hammer head. So her powers when we've seen her in comics and in animation, when she can throw fireballs and stuff like that, or she can go like full fire form and kind of looks, at least from the outside, Human Torch like she is completely fire. My reading of it, and I think there's enough examples to prove it, is that when she goes full fire form, she is actually made of fire.
Oh,
she can't move through objects. You know, like a fire can't move through a brick wall, but a brick can move through her. Like it's like a one-way kind of phasing thing.
Okay.
So I think when she is full fire form, I think she's actually made of fire. Now, she's not always made of fire. If she was just like Beatrice and walking down the street and someone threw a brick, it would hit her. And she can still do some fire powers without going full fire form. But yeah, I think when you see her like full powered, she's like made of fire. She is essentially fire.
Gotta be weary of that triple F. I'm gonna double down on that triple F.
Easy now. The one thing I will say is if she was in her full fire form, you couldn't just extinguish her out of existence. Yeah. She would go back to being human. You wouldn't just like, she would just stop existing, right?
Oh, okay.
It's not like, well, that's the danger of being in full fire form. It's just, if her powers go out, then she goes back to being human.
Stop saying full fire form.
Full fire form?
It's bothering me.
Full fire form.
No, you need to stop.
We should call the episode Full Fire Form.
You're going to be full fired from this podcast.
I can't be.
Can't you, though?
No. Oh my God, he's got the soundboard.
Now we're talking about Aquaman.
Last week we talked about the...
Oh, fuck. All right. Next question. Fuck. Next question comes from Ragin' G. Mustard gas is hazy. Ragin' G. I just planted daisies.
Jeez. Mustard gas. Good God. All right, Ragin' G. Let's have it.
Yeah. Raging that G. It's got triple F and then I raged that G.
Good God.
Raging G asks, characters that would be better with fire powers. Go.
Oh, that already exists, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. It's hard to think of who would be better with fire powers?
I mean, one, kind of everybody.
I think I could conceive of a world where the iconography of the Flash, instead of being a lightning bolt, could have been flames.
Well,
like,
cool.
I wouldn't want to see it now, but you know what I mean? Like, they picked a lightning bolt because it's fast, but I could also see it, you know, like the car tearing away, like the...
yeah, but could you imagine if everywhere he went...
fire.
Could you imagine the destruction? Someone would have to take him out. If everywhere he went, it was fire.
I think it's fine. Nothing to see here.
Oh my God! There's a shooter at the grade school. Oh, now it's on fire.
Oh no!
I'm just saying.
I
think most times he would just make things worse. Like, you wouldn't want Swamp Thing to have firepower. That would be bad.
Swamp Thing is out.
Yeah.
Any character with water doesn't make
Poison
sense.
Poison Ivy, you don't want that. Though, I mean, the idea of like Aquaman being able to go like water and then fire is kind of cool, but
right. I mean, Green Lantern, the original the Golden Age Green Lantern, his energy was always portrayed as a green flame.
Yeah,
like the Starheart, the original version of that, was always portrayed as green flame, not necessarily hot like fire, but he was always sort of shown that way. So, like, there's almost a setup that Green Lantern could be sort of fire based. You know.
Care Bear countdown.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Starheart.
Yeah, God, fire powers. Well, I've mentioned it before. There was that bit during Darkseid War where Shazam's connection to the gods was disrupted.
That's right. And
then he got powers from different gods, and he got the H was replaced by Hronmir, the Martian fire god.
Whoa.
So he got fire power. So Shazam briefly had like pyrokinesis and stuff like that. And I gotta say, it was pretty dope.
Yeah,
It was
that's
pretty cool.
you wouldn't want to Joker.
Yeah, obviously.
That would be bad.
That's bad.
Yeah,
It's
it's not good. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that would be
I'm
bad.
trying to think of like who, not instead of just saying someone like random, like
Red Robin,
who would make sense with a fire power though? Like,
Sandman.
just like burn your dreams.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Mine are already so hot.
Yeah. Shit. It's tough. I don't know that I can think of a character where I'm like, man, I wish they had fire powers.
Except for Gasoline Guy. It's been such a useless power for so long.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you can talk about characters like a Metamorpho. He's the Element Man. He can make himself combustible, but has to ignite off other things. If you also gave him
Fire
the ability
power.
to do that, he could do that, I guess. So there's that. Maybe Plastic Man, because he could just burn forever like a tire fire.
Oh, that's terrible.
Well, I don't want it to hurt him. I just mean he could just be on fire.
That
the
Plastic
fumes
Man,
can take out
and
the...
he's on fire.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know that I have another character that I'm like, man, they need fire powers.
But at the same time, anybody could get it, and it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that is a funny thing maybe with fire, is that it almost feels like a more natural extension of a bunch of powers than cold does,
Yes.
right? So, we're talking about like, you can make a reasonable connection between speed and fire. Or in the case of Green Lantern, it's like energy and fire.
Yeah.
Superman, instead of heat vision, you can just shoot flames out of his eyes. Like,
Oh my God.
like there's versions of things that don't 100% not make sense,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah, fire almost feels like an easier jump than some other powers do.
Jeez Louise. All right, let's move on. Next question. That goes Cray.
Ain't it, Jay?
Watch it out.
Fish fillet. Oh, I just thought of it. Oh, no, never mind. Oh, I thought of a villain with destructive firepower. I'm going back a couple of questions
apparently.
here. Sorry, Etrigan.
Oh,
He literally breathes hellfire.
Yeah,
I know he's not always a villain, but he's a demon still. But yeah, he literally breathes hellfire.
That's pretty cool.
That's the one.
Hell yeah.
The reason I thought of that, because I was like, oh, what if a magic character had fire? I was like,
You're like,
what if Dr. Fate's magic was always like magic flames or something, like shit like that? Like, it would be a cool look. And then I was like, oh, there's a whole brand of magical fire. It's hellfire.
Etrigan. That's right. The next question comes from the Cray Ghost, who asks, which flame power burns the hottest in the DCU? Are there any that burn cold?
Well, we talked about Alan Scott's, like, the green flame is not necessarily hot fire. It's just like the form of that Starheart energy is flame-like.
Yeah.
That's probably what you're closest you're getting with like cold flame sort of idea. Fun little fact, at one point in the comics, probably in the 50s or 60s or earlier on, they tried to basically describe how hot Heatwave's flame gun could make things.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, pick a number, something that sounds hot. And they were like 900 degrees Fahrenheit. It's like, that sounds pretty hot.
Yeah.
Except I looked up a table of melting points today, and that basically melts. It doesn't even melt aluminum. Like 900 degrees Fahrenheit doesn't do shit. Like,
that's fucking hilarious.
It barely melts fucking anything. Put it another way, Heatwave didn't do 9/11.
He doesn't produce jet fuel.
You can't burn as hot as jet fuel.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of comic instances.
Jet fuel doesn't really burn.
You could go the opposite way around. So they said they just picked a number, and it turns out that number is useless. But you can go the other way. There are lots of comics where Heatwave shoots something and it melts. I think we can assume we're getting into the thousands of degrees Fahrenheit with Heatwave. On the show, they talk about achieving a temperature of absolute hot. And they talk about that in contrast to absolute zero. Absolute zero is where there's no molecular movement. It's literally the coldest anything can be.
Yeah.
There's no beyond it. Absolute hot is like theoretically a thing, but there are varying definitions of what that might be.
Yeah.
One definition of absolute hot, I think it's called the Hagedorn something, but essentially the idea is that you get so hot that the energy you would need to add to make things hotter is more than what you'd be combusting. So you just reach an upper limit of adding heat.
Okay.
And then there's another one where it's like we would need like a completely rewritten understanding of physics to understand what particles would do beyond a certain energy threshold.
Jesus.
So both of those are variable definitions of absolute hot. If that was actually true in the show, instantly igniting Earth's atmosphere, everyone's dead. So like that, it doesn't get to absolute hot. It's not a thing.
Good to know.
I would say of the characters in DC, the demonic fire is magic. So that's the temperature aspect of it is less important than the fact that it's like burning your soul or something like that.
Yeah.
I would say a character like Firestorm, someone with like a nuclear based power, because like nuclear explosions get into like, they're like, at least in the instant they go off, they're essentially the temperature of the sun.
Wow.
That's what's so dangerous about them. That's why when they invented the atomic bomb, they didn't want to test it because they thought it would ignite the atmosphere. They were like, I don't know, it's 50-50. We should test it.
Cool.
So I would say if we're just talking about like complete heat of fire powers, it's probably something like a Firestorm, like a nuclear power. Firestorm, Tokamak. We're talking about those kind of characters.
For sure. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's leave Twitter and head on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
First question comes from Ben Forrest Stewart. Lock the door if you're going to podcast.
It's just the weirdest quote to have in the chamber. Why do you have Finding Forrester just ready to go?
Why don't you is the real question. It's the pinnacle of his work.
Indiana.
What movie was that from?
I don't know.
Yeah. Must have been one of his indies.
I think it's from Zardoz.
You didn't get the...
No, I got it. I just moved past it.
You mean an indie joke? It was good. Lock the door if you're coming.
Wrong Quartermain. Just watch League of Extraordinary Gentlemen again.
Wow. I mean, it's fine, but...
Oh.
What's the one that Ben Stiller's in? Is
with Sean Connery?
No. The like...
Oh, Mystery Men.
Mystery Men. That's the... Yeah. I always mix up Mystery Men and the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Very different.
Well, they also came around the same time.
But also not 100% different.
No, I think they also came around the same time.
Mystery Men might be slightly earlier, but yeah, like sort of early 2000s.
Yeah.
Kind of era, yeah.
Absolutely. I have like a random DVD of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I don't know why.
There's nothing random about that.
Yeah. Easy. Ben Forrest Stewart asks, why do fire-based villains... God, this is another long one. Why do fire-based...
It's going to be so nice again, and you're gonna be like, oh, I'm the asshole.
And if it's not... why do fire-based villains seem to take a backseat in the DC universe to ice-based villains? Mr. Freeze, Captain Cold, Killer Frost. The list of famous ice characters goes on and on. Maybe I'm wrong, but aside from Heatwave on Legends of Tomorrow, it seems like fire-based characters such as Firefly don't get their due. The most recent episode of Harley Quinn even went out of their way to mention Firefly, but not show him. What character do you think deserves a push?
Right. I mean, I think this is tied a little bit to what we were talking about. I feel like fire powers, generally speaking, don't feel as unnatural as cold powers. When you think of
it's a lot easier to create fire than it is to create ice.
Well, like, and even like conceptually, right? Like if you
can knock a couple rocks together and create fire.
Well, that, or you break the gas line and there's fire. Like fire can be caused by so many other incidental things, but like creating ice, like there's no hose in your house that if you break it,
ice comes out. No.
It's more unnatural.
Yes.
It's harder to get to. And I think that makes it a bit creepier as a power because it's a bit more outside of what could just happen by accident.
Yeah, I think
if you crash a car, icicles don't go everywhere.
Also, you can create structures from ice.
There's that to it too. I mean,
you can't. It's a lot easier to not kill someone from shooting ice at them than it is to be like, oh, I shot fire at them. Oh no, though now they're dead.
Yeah, I mean, certainly in terms of the plausible kind of deniability of a comic book, yes, you're right. You could put someone in a full block of ice, and even though in real,
I mean, there might even be a place you could go to get that done.
Holy shit! I just figured it out.
I know. God, I've been waiting for you.
But you know what I mean? Like in a comic, even though in real life you put someone in a block of ice, they're dead. In a comic, you do it and then you just melt them and you go like, oh, great, you got me out in time. In you put someone in fire. There's no version of like, oh, you got me out in time.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're burning.
No, you're in fire. You only get in fire once.
So I think that's part of the reason.
Yeah.
And in the way that we sort of shit on Martian Manhunter for being weak against fire, I think because fire is such an easy thing to just have happen in our world.
It's so commonplace.
Like, that's your thing? Your thing is fire? It's like the thing that like might happen anyway.
It's a thing kids play with.
Yeah. I mean, if Bane and Batman punch each other long enough, something will catch fire.
Yes.
So it's like your whole shtick is basically like an afterthought. It's a byproduct. So I think that's being general. There are creative ways to do fire powers, or, you know, the idea of like magical fire, or how do you control fire, or being obsessed with fire. There's lots you could do with it, but if we're just talking about like what is the root reason why fire characters are sort of like lesser, or at least less popular, or whatever, it might just be that. It might just because fire is like, that's like, it's like literally the first thing we learned. It's like it was like fire and then wheels and then bread. It was like those three things.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for us to learn how to make ice.
By rubbing two rocks together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to know how to make ice cubes. I don't remember the recipe, though.
Boo.
Hatcha.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a very like unofficial, unscientific hypothesis.
What fire character do you think needs more attention?
I mean, I would still argue Heatwave, but he does have, like, he is a main character on a network TV show.
Yeah.
Firefly is definitely a character that, like, I forget that that's a Batman villain. When I saw Firefly in one of the questions, I was like, oh, fuck, Firefly.
I just hate that he got
prepping
canceled
for this episode and not thinking about it. Oh, yeah. Well, yes, Firefly did get canceled.
Yeah. It was terrible what he did.
Oh, yeah. Garfield. That's his name. It's Garfield Lins. That's Firefly.
Oh. Man, does he hate Mondays?
So much that he burns them down.
That's right.
Yeah.
God, there's so many things that we just referenced at once.
Yeah. Who needs a push? I mean, I kind of want the Human Flame to come back. Like,
just because
they brought him back in Final Crisis because he was such a one-off. He'd shown up once and then he'd basically, quote unquote, been in prison the whole time.
Jeez.
But like, Martian Manhunter, I think, deserves a little bit more of a personal rogues gallery beyond just other Martians, beyond just Ma'alefa'ak and stuff like that. I mean, he's kind of got Despero, but bring Human Flame in. He should have an Earthbound member of his rogues.
Yeah.
And so give the Human Flame some more stories. I think on the Patreon, when we did a movie pitch thing, I pitched a Martian Manhunter movie heavily centered on the Human Flame.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of want that.
Yeah.
Give him more. Let's make him more of a recurring villain. He can still be low tier, low status. He could be living in his mom's basement, like whatever.
Yeah.
But give him appearances, I guess, is what I would say.
Yeah. All right. Next question comes from C. Robin Bear, which asks, which fire-based character loves fire so much that they have a fetish for it?
Well, that's Mick Rory.
Oh, yeah.
That's your boy.
Hell yeah.
You know, on TV, he writes romance novels.
Yeah, nothing gets him more fired up.
In the comics, he's romancing the flame.
I mean, there you go.
It's better than the stone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mick Rory. I mean, I think you can make the argument both for him and for Firefly, but my not official distinction in my head is that Firefly is just into destroying things with fire. Mick is like obsessed with like fire. He's, I would say, pyrophiliac. Like he's He loves fire.
Oh, wow.
I think if given the opportunity,
he'd fuck fire.
He'd fuck fire. I don't think that's a stretch. It sounds like a joke, but I think there's enough comic evidence to support he would do it.
He'd both marry, fuck, and kill fire.
Oh no, Jesus!
Yeah,
all three.
That's all the kind of guy he is.
Yeah, I think it's him, definitely.
Yeah, I mean that sounds about right. All right, let's move on.
All right.
Next question comes from Robbie's just this guy. Robbie.
That's it. End of story.
Just give Robbie what he wants. Robbie doesn't have a gun to my head right now.
He's just lighting matches and holding them very close to you.
Yeah. Robbie's clearly not in my house right now. And
Robbie's just opening up the gas valve.
Yep. Robbie's given a sweet release.
Hashtag sweet release.
Oh yeah.
One day.
Only.
Didn't we say not too many weeks ago that it would have to be our 666th episode?
I do think that's what it was.
Oh God!
300 reviews and we'll kill ourselves.
Oh my God! It's such a low number of reviews.
We say it. We've got to do it.
Such a low number.
Hey, we're only like
if we
75.
Get to 85 reviews.
76 reviews.
Oh God.
Oh, if only. Robbie's just this guy asks, are there any non-magical pyro powers that can harm Superman? What's the melting point of a Kryptonian? Also, has anyone ever accidentally given Martian Manhunter a birthday cake with candles on it?
I'm positive if you flip back through comics, there's an issue where they give him a birthday cake and he faints or he goes like, please blow it out. And they go like, oh, right. It must be in there. There is no way.
He's blowing it, but it's those trick candles.
Yeah.
Oh my God, like my nightmares.
It's a living nightmare. My entire race was consumed in flame.
They're like, yeah, but isn't it funny?
But what did you wish for, John?
That they were all back.
I mean, it's just a birthday cake, John. Come on.
Yeah,
let's be real here. We got you a trike?
Kind of like having your whole race back.
I am convinced if you look back through
somewhere
those issues, it must have happened.
Yeah.
There's no way it didn't happen.
No. If not the biggest missed opportunity.
It's a huge missed opportunity. I am so confident that it has been done.
Yeah. That seems like a 60s like Martian Manhunter story if I
must have, yeah.
Yeah.
As for actually, I think in the animated movie Justice League Doom,
really?
He is Detective John Jones out at a party and someone brings over a cupcake with a little candle in it, and he looks at the flame and he kind of goes like,
He just hears like screams in his head.
Like, yeah.
Oh my God.
So I definitely know it's happened in animation. I'm convinced it's happened in comics.
Good God.
As for Superman, we've talked about multiple versions of Superman that just like fly through or live in the sun.
Yeah.
So we know that that's not hot enough.
Is there like a Kryptonian flame?
I mean, we're talking about a powered up Superman, because obviously, if he was just in a red sun system, then yeah, comparable regular fire would
because he doesn't have his abilities.
But like powered up Kryptonian Superman, I mean. There's the theoretical absolute hot that I mentioned may have existed in like a Planck length right after the Big Bang. Maybe that would be enough to do it. But I mean, I think all of the comic evidence points to a general sort of understanding that as long as Superman is absorbing solar radiation, yellow solar radiation, it basically, you can't kill him that way, at least.
Wow.
Kill him with kryptonite, kill him maybe with magic. He can suffocate. Like, there are other ways of killing Superman, but I don't think the fire or the heat would ever do it. I mean, there are comics where he's been in a nuclear blast, where he's detonated nuclear explosions, like, on top of himself, and he's fine. So I have a hard time imagining what the quote-unquote boiling point of Kryptonian would be.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I just wonder if there's a way to like make like a fire with like kryptonite in it and like.
Well, I mean, yeah, you could make if you could make like a chemical kryptonite fire, that would counter the powering. But then you're just getting back to like that's just fire.
Oh yeah,
right. If we were dealing with a weakness or like depowering him, then we're just talking about regular fire.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Next question comes from the real Josh Gill.
Gill.
Real Josh Gill's waiting for you.
Sexy Gill.
Real Josh Gill's in your area. Call now.
This real Josh Gill thought he was alone at home. You won't believe what happens next.
Oh, this real Josh Gill is selling a home. But what happens next?
What a bizarre like subgenre of porn that real estate shit is.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I mean, it works.
Yeah, it's fine, but like it's weird. Someone had to have that idea.
Yeah.
And then someone had to, but it's not just that. It's like
you know what, you want to fucking real estate agent?
It's not just like they made one video. They're like, what if we made a whole channel?
A whole series.
Like it's just a different listing every time.
My favorite thing lately has been
what a crazy
when they call things fake something. Like they're not even trying. Like they're not.
I mean, that's clearly like a legal thing, right?
I can't imagine that matters. I just love it. It's like fake taxi. It's like no, because I thought it was a real taxi.
Or maybe it's just to make people watching it feel better about watching it, that they're not like watching someone take advantage of other people.
Yeah, it's why I can't watch those fake family members.
Oh no. Good God.
Fake brother and sister.
Could really use a purifying flame about now.
Josh asks, could John and Fire, Ice's partner,
right,
ever be a thing?
I mean, technically, yeah. I mean, yes, because John and Scorch have been a thing.
Yeah.
As long as you could turn the firepower off.
I mean, once you go after one redhead.
We've talked about this. Well, Beatrice has green hair, actually.
I was just fucking just whatever.
Because she's green flame. She's not just like orange flame. It's green flame. Okay, but as long as she doesn't go full fire form, FFF, then yeah, it's fine. It's not like her skin is just containing a fire or something.
I mean, a fire of passion.
Oh yeah, but he's like Jean wouldn't be like, oh, your shoulder's too hot. My weakness. It's as long
what
as you
a
can...
beta John you just made. Oh.
I don't think we're in any position to be discussing who is an alpha and who is a beta.
I am.
From my perspective, from down here, sir,
I've got higher ground.
Don't try it. Yeah, they could totally. If there was a circumstance in which they were feeling it, they could totally make that happen. As long as. Now, here's the thing. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't seen it in a comic, but it doesn't mean it hasn't happened. We've talked about sometimes...
I'm sure in DeviantArt someone made that.
Sometimes where like Black Canary, when she's having sex, and then she lets the canary cry loose by accident. Like, that's in comics.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that happens with Fire or not. That would be a problem for John.
She blew her lid? Yeah.
That would be a problem for John.
Yeah.
Partway through. Yeah. That would be an issue. But aside from that, yeah, they could totally make it happen. If I don't know that they ever really had character chemistry that way, though.
Yeah. What up?
Thanks for weighing in.
Next question comes from ABC.
Brooks.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3.
Brooks.
Easy as do, re, mi.
Brooks.
1, 2, 3.
Brooks.
Baby, you and me, Brooks.
Brooks. Brooks, 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 Brooks,
Brooks.
Did we miss the Instagram song?
No, we did it.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember doing it. I must have blacked out.
Now we're going to ABC Brooks.
Take some Brooks and MC Brooks.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I snapped. I know I did. ABC Brooks asks, why do you think Volcana hasn't been able to pull a Harley and cross over into the comics? She is also a Bruce Timm creation and a cool character.
So Volcana is like a pyrokinetic character that showed up in the animated universe. Why hasn't she? I mean, the only comics she's appeared in have been the ones that are tie-ins to the animated universe.
Yeah.
She hasn't crossed into like actual DC canon, like the main continuity at all.
Yeah.
Why?
Great name.
I don't 100% know why, other than like she had limited appearances. It's not like she was showing up as much as Livewire or Harley or characters like that.
She have any like twist on the whole fire thing at all, or
not overly, not as I recall.
Is there any like just straight up lava shooting people?
Well, so this is another thing, slightly doubling back to that villain question too. We talked about it a bit actually last week when we had Corey on.
Yeah.
We've got the other members of Red Tornado's family that have fire or tangential fire powers. So, like, Red Inferno is literal fire powers. Red Volcano has earth powers, but that also includes lava and shit like that.
Oh, okay.
I think, like, Terra and Geoforce, those sort of geokinetic people, you could probably make an argument for them having some lava powers.
That's scary as hell.
You have a character like Plasmus, who's sort of like a living, almost like he's kind of a mass of chemicals, but he's almost like a moving lava kind of thing.
Sounds like that Christmas I gave all that blood away so I could buy presents.
Plasmus.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, but your wife had sold all of the like ways that your gifts would be useful to get you more plasma. It was the gift of the Magi.
That's right. She gave me a bunch of needles to give my blood.
Yeah. Tar Pit is a Flash villain that is like molten tar version of Clayface, essentially.
Yeah.
That's sort of fire-y in its own way. There are characters that are like chemical kind of based fires. We're talking about Dr. Phosphorus or something like that. There are different versions of those things.
Yeah.
Why? Maybe the reason that Volcana hasn't shown up is that there just wasn't enough new or interesting about that character in the cartoon. Like, Harley was such a fresh idea. Livewire was a crazy idea on the Superman animated series. A shock jock who gets electricity powers and becomes living electricity was like a cool thing. And electricity is the thing that can kind of hurt Superman. Like, that was a neat new female villain for Superman. That's a cool thing.
For sure.
I just don't know that Volcana, anything really like happened that made her interesting enough to move over, especially because again, it's a fire power. Like, she's not going to hurt Superman. Like,
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't think I have a better answer than that. Again, I'm also not in the heads of those creators, but I would just say because it wasn't like a big innovation. It was just a character they created, but it wasn't like something so new like Harley that it was like, oh my God, this is undeniable.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next question comes from, oh my God, you better jack your shotguns because it's Jack Stonewall.
Jack Stonewall.
Oh yeah, I'm going to kick ass and chew bubblegum and I'm all out of gum.
Jack Stonewall never looks back at an explosion. Ever.
I heard Jack Stonewall walked into an abortion clinic and got everyone pregnant.
Jesus.
Jack Stonewall.
When Jack Stonewall does a push-up, he pushes the earth down.
That's right. When Jack Stonewall punches you, your kids feel it.
Oh my God.
Because he punches your kids.
Oh my God. So dark. Oh God, what does Jack ask?
What did you call him?
Jackass.
Was this guy some sort of jackass? Jack poses the question. I know of 2 different stories that talk about the Martian's weakness to fire. the new one with the Apex Predators and the 90s story where the Guardians rewrote the Martian gene code to make them fear fire. Which do you like better?
Right. The more modern one is sort of from this relatively recent run on Justice League, including Perpetua. So in her initial Doom multiverse, she had made this race of apex predators. And when the judges of the Source were like, nope. And then the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor and the World Forger were sort of remaking the multiverse to be a justice multiverse. They split the apex predator into two races, into humans and Martians. And that included a Martian weakness to fire to help temper their powers. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool in general, but not really about the fire thing. It's more just about the relationship between Earth and Mars. The one that I mentioned before with the burning Martians was specifically about and addressing the fire thing. The weakness to fire was because they were those Martians were almost made of fire. And basically the Guardians of the Universe were they are on the verge of being spacefaring and they are going to destroy everything that they ever meet. So we're going to genetically tamper with them. We're going to do this cosmic eugenics experiment and we're going to make we're going to basically biologically and psychologically convince them they're weak against fire so that they forget that is what they are. That is a cool story, but it's also because it was specifically why is Martian Manhunter weak against fire? And they were trying to deal with it. The current one, the fire thing is mentioned, but it's not about that. It's about this bigger cosmic story, which is very, very cool, but it's not one of those neat little retcon, where does this come from stories. I think that Burning Martian story is legitimately interesting. Very, very cool. Yeah. And a terrifying villain. Martian Manhunter as Furnace.
Martian Manhunter is already the most powerful character. Yeah. So imagine adding that.
Him as Furnace is very, very scary.
Terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I probably like that one better. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds fucking rad.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jack.
You've served your country well.
That's right. Now go rest on that stone.
How can we ever repay you?
Mm-hmm.
I could use a full tank of gas and a new passport.
Sorted currencies. All right, let's leave Instagram and head.
Baby, we were born to run. That's just him driving off into the sunset at the end of the movie.
Hell yeah. Let's leave Instagram and head on over to Reddit.
Where everyone's nice and no one's ever mean.
Bork, bork. Next question comes from Dr. Flug87.
I like that one, yeah.
Bork, bork.
A lot of fucking doctors creeping up, though.
Yeah.
Don't think I don't see you.
Jeez, Dr. Kevorkian over here.
Come for the king, you better not miss.
Oh my god. You're gonna get 2 hits. Me punching you and you hitting the floor.
Me punching you, me punching your kids. I'm Jack Stonewall.
Dr. Fluke asks, Firestorm and Fireverse Red Inferno and Human Flame. Who wins?
Right. Quick recap. We know who Firestorm is. 2 people fused in the Firestorm Matrix. They have nuclear powers, powers of transmutation, but also just energy blasts, fire, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
We've talked about Fire, Beatrice DaCosta, who is completely pyrokinetic and sort of becomes like a living flame as well. The other team, Red Inferno, is an android with like fire elemental powers. So like a artificial body, a computer brain, essentially, and fire powers. Human Flame, Mike Miller, is a very low-rent adversary of the Martian Manhunter who's just like a guy in a suit that has some fire abilities, but he's spent like 15 years in prison because the Martian Manhunter beat him once. So, the teams are Firestorm and Fire, Red Inferno, and Human Flame. Who wins? Go.
I would have to say that Firestorm and Firewind.
I think it's too overpowered.
Yeah.
This is not a fair I think if the teams were Firestorm and Human Flame and then Fire and Red Inferno, we got a more even matchup there. But I think like Red Inferno ultimately, firepowers or none, is meltable.
Yeah.
Fire is literal fire. Like the character can just be fire. So like what are the other two supposed to do to hurt her? And same with Firestorm, frankly, who is the nuclear man. It seems like they got this one in hand. I think this is a safe bet.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah.
All right, last question.
Keeping in mind also Mike Miller is just a guy.
Yeah.
So you kill him. Now you're just down to the android that is, again, as mentioned, meltable.
Yeah. Next question comes from 600 years in the future. Coronavirus pandemic has ravaged the universe. All the resources left on the planet after all business had ended and all resources have been plundered. The Earth returned to a new ice age. This next question comes from Iceman 2681.
Oh my God. Is it... Did he take his Instagram account and put it in a block of ice and move over to Reddit?
That's right. Iceman 2681 asks, is Heatwave's fire gun simply a solidly brand? I didn't know solidly was a word. Solidly branded.
Of course it is.
I've just never used it before. Solidly? Last night I gave her a solidly good.
Go on, finish the sentence.
Nah, we both know I didn't.
It wasn't solidly. We both know that.
No. I don't even have solid BMs.
It's so unrelated.
Is Heatwave's fire gun simply a solidly branded flamethrower? Or is there something more going on there that makes it a fire gun?
It is essentially just a flamethrower.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a special distinction the way like Captain Cold's gun does. Captain Cold's gun doesn't shoot ice. It produces cold.
Yes.
Which makes ice as a byproduct, but it's different, quote unquote different. Heatwave's gun doesn't have that. It's essentially just a handheld flamethrower. Like I said on the show, they tried to indicate it would go to absolute hot, which is just categorically untrue. But Heatwave's over the years in comics, he's had different pieces of paraphernalia. You talked about his goggles had infrared, like heat vision kind of things in this comic that you read. Yeah. His suit is, fireproof, but he's had different like gadgets to do heat and fire things. But no, essentially his heat gun is just a handheld, like handgun version of a flamethrower instead of being something big like the one that Firefly carries around.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the last question. You know what time it is.
Oh, fuck.
Now you can say.
That's the drop for Dial Doc. Oh, fuck.
That's right. It's Dial Doc. Every single week, we come up with a brand new unseen character, much like in the fabled Dial H for Hero comics of old, which have been recently rebooted. The idea is that a character comes up, finds a payphone, dials hero, and becomes a never-before-seen hero. Or maybe they dial evil and become a villain. Multitude of possibilities. But the idea was that when they originally came up, it was a way for DC to be able to take fan ideas and make them into characters. So every single week for the past, fucking my whole goddamn life, we've been doing this.
Yeah. I don't remember a time before this.
Yes. Oh, the before
times. I think I have one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, well, tell me.
All right. Mine is called Horcus Porcus.
Some magical pig.
No. Magic is involved.
Okay.
But sort of in the vein of like a dog welder type of character.
Okay.
Horcus Porcus is basically cosmically tied to all pig-based life. Can communicate, can control not only living pigs, but any pork matter. pork chops, has like pork-related telekinesis.
Jesus.
So like, can use bacon and stuff like that. Can like affect the pork in people's systems, is tied to like the elder pig gods. So anything pig related.
If two people are having sex,
if they're porking, Oh, you better believe that gives power. Yeah. If they're
what about boars?
If they're watching cartoons and Porky Pig is on TV, boom, more powers.
Wow.
They can control that cartoon. Anything pork or pig related cosmically through the universe, they have access to that power, and they can have sort of like general like telekinesis, telepathy, stuff like that. That's Horcus Porcus.
Okay.
I didn't mention that the one thing that they can, sort of special power beyond just talking to pigs or controlling them or whatever, is they can actually, if there's enough pigs in a place, they can merge them all into like a super Voltron pig.
You mean like in...
If they were at a pig farm, they could merge them into a single pig. Like,
is this like Batman Ninja?
Yeah.
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 Jesus Christ.
Yeah. They could make a pig Zord.
By the way, have you gone to Walmart recently? They have like a ton of like all the DC animated stuff.
And I might
Shoppers Drug Mart?
I might go back because they also had the first season of the 70s Wonder Woman.
They had like all of the Batman the animated series. They have got fucking like a ton. I saw Batman Ninja there, a bunch of the other Batman.
They got Red Sun there.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's fucking rad.
Yeah.
My character shit.
Good luck beating Horcus Porcus.
My character's name is Sinsayer.
Ooh, okay.
Has the ability to whisper any sin into people's ears, and like it'll like catch like a disease amongst like a group of people.
Like, are we talking sin like the 7 deadly?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Right. So you just walk up and you just be like wrath.
Yes.
And then they would be like uncontrollably, unconscionably angry.
Yeah, and everyone that they touch sort of gets it like a disease.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Like just forever, or
until like,
because really that's a power you only have to use once, essentially. Then
until either they die or he dies.
Right. Does the power does that consume them like unnaturally quickly? Right. Okay. Because I was gonna say you literally just say it once and let them go about their life.
No. Yeah. That's literally the only thing they're focused on.
Right.
Gotcha.
Sinsayer. I like that.
Feels like a Constantine villain.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Or a Shazam villain.
Yeah.
7 Deadly Sins.
That's right.
Yeah, I like that one.
Hell
nice.
yeah.
I mean, it's no Horcus Porcus, but
I mean, what is? I mean, really, it's an unleveled playing field.
The theoretical, the equivalent of like the "Don't cross the streams" thing is that Horcus Porcus can't tap into the power of pigs porking.
It's just too powerful.
It's too much. We don't know what would happen.
Yeah.
Imagine every molecule in your body flying apart at the speed of light.
I mean, when pigs fly.
Listen, it's well within Horcus Porcus's abilities.
I figured. That's it for Dial Docs. We'd love to hear what characters you residents can come up
please.
with.
Yeah.
All you have to do is send in your characters or using the hashtag DialDoc, or you can send us a question for next week's episode.
Yeah, and next week, I thought it'd be fun to do a character episode. So,
neato.
Next week, we're going to be talking about Sinestro.
Ooh.
Specifically, Sinestro. Ooh. So cool Sinestro stories.
Sinestro Core War.
Yeah.
Hell
that's certainly on the table. Yeah. So, anything Sinestro. That's next week.
I'm into that. See what hell Jordan's got to say about that.
That's not his episode.
Didn't he become Sinestro?
No, he became Parallax.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah. Shit. All right.
Idiot.
fucking stupid. Oh, no.
Please don't shit yourself.
Oh, I just porked my pants.
That's not what that means.
I need to make some calls. Reach out to us through our various social media platforms, such as our Facebook.
Dr. DC Podcast.
Of course, our Twitter.
At Dr. DC.
You may not remember, but we sang this song. It's Instagram.
Dr. DC Podcast.
Email.
drdcpodcast@gmail.com.
Always accepting those emails. And of course, we have a subreddit.
r/Dr_DC.
You can phone us with your voice.
208-917-3238.
Leave us a message. We miss your voices. I bet you miss talking to people. This is the way to solve that problem.
That's true, yeah.
Of course, you can buy our merch on our website.
drdcpodcast.ca or .com.
Yeah.
Whoa, I just changed it up there.
Whoa.
Yeah, take that, America. .com comes second.
Yeah. We had to pay for that .ca. We also have a YouTube.
We do. This is our fun side project, Scaredy Guys. We're a couple of videos into our latest game.
Holy shit!
Which was the Resident Evil 2 remake. There's more of that still coming. But every week on Thursday, we put a new video out. Basically, it's us playing scary video games, and I'm the biggest coward on the planet.
Yeah, it's the funniest thing.
I have Left 4 Dead at home, and I'm
debating.
Well, I have to try it.
Yeah,
but I don't know, man.
We literally we played Resident Evil for so long.
We played it for 3.5 hours,
and only after like 3 hours did we realize that if you stop holding your gun out, then you can actually do things in the game.
Yeah, I spent like a solid hour of that time just being like, "There's literally nothing I could do," and then I finally dropped the gun, and there's a world of options.
Yeah. Very funny.
It's very upsetting.
Yeah. So
if you want to see me jump and scream and like kind of piss myself, then
when that body falls, Jesus Christ! My favorite part is
check out Scaredy Guys.
When you get so scared that you actually like look behind you when something was behind you in the game. Oh, just moments of gold every single week.
Yeah, so go to YouTube, look up Scaredy Guys, subscribe over there, check those videos out. It's a ton of fun, yeah.
And of course, give us a 5-star review.
5-star review. Remember, when we get to 100, we're doing the Lord of the Rings miniseries. When we get to 200, we are starting a whole nother podcast. We're going to start the Supernatural Rewatch podcast. That's not its title. We don't have a title for it yet.
No. Naturally Super at podcasting.
That must exist already. Yeah.
No, the one that really has got the best name, but is a terrible podcast, is The Road So Far.
Ooh.
Great name. Terrible podcast.
Too bad.
Yeah. Yes. So make sure you do that. If you want, we talked about our YouTube. If you want even more content from us, there's 2 other ways that you can do that. You can give us $5 on our Patreon.
That's right. Patreon.com/DrDC.
You get an extra episode every single Friday of our Double Dose. It's sometimes about comic book stuff. Sometimes it's just about random life stuff. This week,
other geeky things.
Yeah, this week we're talking about Harry Potter.
We are, yeah.
So make sure you subscribe to that. And for $2 more, we also produce a video episode every Wednesday with the doctor's what he's reading right now, and maybe even what I'm reading right now.
Hey, that's right. And at that,
I'll never tell.
And at that higher level, you also get to help decide episode themes. You get a merch discount. There's all sorts of cool things, and that those Patreon subscriptions help us out, help us keep making stuff, even on this main feed over here. So
yeah, dog,
check it out.
That's it for this week.
I think that's everything. Yeah.
All I've got to say is, lock the door if you're coming in.
Adios.
Yeah, ciao.
Heroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure, they are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.